Okay, so these are some plain LED mirrors. We're going to transform them into these beautiful, blingy, in memory of gifts. I'm going to show you how I did it. Keep watching. Hey YouTube, so today in this video, I am going to be adding some photos, some rhinestones, and some bling to these mirrors. These are just some LED mirrors that I purchased from Amazon. And a really good friend of mine, she gives her friends some of the greatest gifts. Let's just get prepped first. So I'm sanding them off. I'm using like an 80 or 100 grit sandpaper just to rough up the surfaces. And now what I'm doing is I'm wiping the surface off with some rubbing alcohol just to make sure it's smooth and cleaned off. The purpose of roughing up the surface is just so that the glue, the UV resin, or whatever I use will help the items adhere to the surface. So the original request was a mirror for her really good friend. Unfortunately, her friend lost her son 7 years ago, and she wanted me to make a mirror that had his photo on it. I had never done anything like this before as far as with a compact mirror, but I had done something similar to this with photo coasters. So I was like, okay, let me just go ahead and print out the pictures. Oh, and then she texted me back and said she would like one for herself as well with a photo of her great grandmother. So she sent me a couple pictures to choose from. So I was like, okay, let me go ahead and get to work. So I printed out bigger size photos because I was a little confused with the settings on the printer. And then I just wanted to make sure I had the right size. It ended up being this smaller size that I used. I think it was called contact size. I'm not exactly sure, but it's like the size you put maybe in like a locket. I originally thought I would be using the size of a wallet photo, which it depends. You probably still could. You would just cut out the person a little bit smaller, cut out more of the background. So that probably may have worked. So I'm going to show you what I ended up doing because I had these other photos left over and I didn't want to like make the photos go to waste because I already printed them out and used my ink, and I used my other resources like my laminator to go ahead and seal the pictures in. So I'll tell you more about that. I'm just going to finish cutting out these pictures. Okay, so here are the pictures. I'm just kind of laying them in my laminator sheet. This is a laminator that I purchased from Amazon some years ago, and the lamination sheets were only about probably $12 for 100 sheets. The laminator itself, back when I purchased it, was about $25, and the brand is Amazon Basics. I'm not sure if they still sell it or not, but I'll have a link where you can purchase it. So I still had some space left in my laminator sheet and I didn't want to have anything go to waste. So I just cut out a scrap of luxury inspired fabric so I could just make a bookmark. These bookmarks are really cute. They come in handy and I just kind of give them to people at church. It helps when we're flipping through in Sunday school through the Bible. So they're really cute too. So I'm just kind of running the sheet through my laminator, and once I run this through, I'll be able to cut them out and just kind of see what we have and size them up. Okay, so I'm just cutting out each of the photos so I can have a better idea of which one I'm going to use. Okay, so I'm using the smaller picture, but for a second I did entertain the idea of using the bigger wallet size picture and maybe just adding a little bling around the outside, but I wanted it to be more decoration and then just have the picture on there I guess, a more subtle look. So here I'm just kind of trying to figure out a layout before I actually glue down where I want the photo to go, and making sure that I didn't have the LED compact mirror upside down. I did that as a mistake when I first made my own compact mirror, which it was fine because it was for me, but if you're making this for someone, you don't want the mirror to be upside down. Okay, so I used a really strong adhesive glue. Bob Smith Maxi Cure is what I used. And just to kind of go around the outside of it, I'm using UV resin because it cures rather quickly. The only thing about the UV resin I don't like sometimes is that it is a little thin, so the consistency can be a little runny. And with this photo, I should have cut a little closer because I was like on top of the lamination paper, and it was kind of making it hard to kind of really line up the rhinestones that I wanted them to be. And when you're using UV resin, it kind of starts to make things slide a little bit. When you use a UV nail glue, that is much thicker, so it doesn't have as much running. So I'm just trying to fix it and just kind of go around the actual photo first, and then I'm going to add more things. So I did start with that really pretty trim. I think I was out of camera view, but I had some really pretty trim that I cut and put at the top of the mirror, as you could see. Now I was just trying to decide if I wanted to use this Barbie piece, or if I wanted to use like a little Chanel piece, or if I wanted to use, I'm just trying out some different things. But eventually I'll figure out what I want to add, and I'll just start adding the pieces on. So I like to add a few pieces and then go ahead and cure it, and then add a few more pieces, and then just continue on that way. It makes it a lot easier, because if not, everything will just shift and continue to slide. Okay, as you can see, I've moved on to the second mirror, and she told me that her friend likes purple. I think it was either purple or lavender. So I have this cute little miniature purse, and I thought it would be cute to just add this purse on. And then from here, I'm just going to continue to add on like some little lavender pieces and more rhinestone and little cute little charms. Okay, so I have the silicone coaster mold, and I have these photos. I just want to fit them inside just to kind of see how they fit. They actually fit perfect. So I'm going to make a couple mistakes here. I left them in so you'll know not to make these same mistakes. I made these coasters before, but it's been a couple years and I kind of forgot my process. So I'm adding in part A with part B. Make sure you read the instructions. I sped this up so it looks like I'm spinning it really fast, but you don't want to spin it like super fast. You want to spin it, you want to mix it kind of slow so it doesn't get too many bubbles in it. I added glitter. When you do your first layer for your photo coasters, you will just do it with just a clear epoxy. You won't add glitter until you go to your second coat, your second layer. So that's the main part where I messed up at. And once I figured out what I messed up, I tried to fix it and I ended up fixing it, but so you'll see what I'm doing. If you want to do a coaster that's just one layer, then you can just add the glitter. Make sure your photo is facing up, but don't super press it down. Don't submerge it. You want to leave the top of the photo uncovered. I was making reversible coasters, at least I thought that's what I was going to do, until I realized that the photo that I pressed down into the glitter wasn't going to be able to be seen. Okay, this is what I'm going to do with this one. I pressed it down in there and I didn't put 2 and 2 together until it was already too late. So I was like, oh no, I shouldn't have did that. So what I'm going to do is like, okay, well, I can still save it. Okay, so I tried to push it in there gently, which I shouldn't have did that. I should have just set it on there, but I still poured glitter on top of it. I don't know what I was thinking. So I tried to take the spoon and take the glitter off the photo area. It still didn't work, of course. So I tried to take something and pull it back out. We'll get to that part in just a moment. So I was like, okay, well, I can at least get this other one started. So I just sat that one there. This is what I should have did with the other one. Like, don't get anything on top of it. Just sit it there. Because, you know, epoxy is self-leveling, and what it will do is just kind of cover up the photo. So I was like, okay, let me at least get this poured into the other molds. Sit it there. Don't press it. Don't touch it. Just let it sit there, because we're going to come back later with clear epoxy with no glitter in it, and you're going to cover it up, and that's going to lock that inside, and that'll be the coaster. So I went back trying to figure it out. I pulled the photo out, and I thought it was helping. But I guess because it was already epoxy on it, it was so heavy. When I sat it back in there, it just automatically just sunk back down. So I just kind of gave up on that one. I thought it was saved, but it ended up still just kind of going back down. So with the excess epoxy of the glitter, I have this little pop socket mold that I purchased like a long time ago. I thought it was a UV resin mold. It's not. And it would not cure under the UV light because it's not a transparent colored mold. I was gonna attempt to make a pop socket with the photo on it. It didn't turn out right, but I'll show you at the end when it cured what happened. Okay, now I'm back the next day. This is all hardened up, it's cured, and I have clear epoxy that I'm going to go ahead and add on to the coaster. So you see I put just a drop on that first one and just a drop on that second one. I have another photo I had to go back and print out, and I was hoping that I can like exactly cover it so the old photo isn't showing, but it's still a little bit of the old photo showing. It's the same photo, so I guess it doesn't look too bad. My daughter said it looked like it was 3D, so I was like, okay, I'll take it. So what I did with this other one, I'm just pressing the photo on so she'll have that picture as well, because both of those are really nice pictures. I just put it on there so it could stick with the other picture. Now I'm going to add on the top layer of these two photos of the gentleman. So you could see the picture nice and clear. It's not glitter all over it. This is what I should have did with the first layer. So hopefully I'm explaining this right, my errors, and then what to do and what not to do. So I'm just going to top these off, and then we'll come back tomorrow and I'll go ahead and unmold them. Okay, so it has been a full 24 hours and I am going to unmold these. Again, on my voiceover, I'll let you know, yes, I did make some mistakes because I hadn't did these in a long time. I did laminate the photos, but I forgot that my first layer should have been a very small layer with clear, so I could have did them reversible. But I was able to save it once I figured out my mistake. You know, sometimes with DIYs, they don't always go as planned. So what you can try to do is kind of save. You know, this epoxy is not cheap. This gallon is between like $40 and $50. Depending upon the brand, it can get up to about 80 bucks, 100. So it depends on what brand you use. So let's go ahead and start to unmold these. And this is a very pretty remastered photo of my friend's grandmother. Then I have a little bit of excess
change the background
epoxy,
a little bit,
and I don't like to let it go to waste again because this stuff is not cheap. So I'm going to make a Nelfie disc
because I was able
it's just one of those little discs that you take
like a
and
neighborhood
use
from
if you want to display after you did someone's nails or something like that.
But they were just a little small
And I put
on the back
some
of them, but
pink
I think it turned out
foil
nice.
in it.
And
I
on
love that
this,
little foil. It's so pretty. And
it
that
was
was like my
like a
first time
picture that
seeing
was
what the pink
actually
looks like.
taken
I usually
in
use like a
bathroom
gold or
or
a silver
something,
foil
and it was a
leaf.
shower curtain behind her.
Okay.
So I just felt like it would be a lot better, and it would just be so befitting just to kind of show him looking like he's in the sky. This picture is a little old, and I tried to brighten it up the best I could, because I guess he passed away 7 years ago. So this is just something that I hope brings his mom. I just hope it just warms her heart when my friend does give this to her. So let's get started with this one. This one is one of the ones I did kind of mess up a little bit. So nice and thick. So the first picture behind it, the face was covered with glitter because, you know, I kind of messed it up. But I was able to redeem myself by mixing up some clear glitter. Once that first layer, yeah, you could probably see it. Once that first layer dried, I added on a layer of clear glitter, submerged the picture in it and covered that up. And it's nice and smooth. Now I know some people do these differently. Some people make this their top. Some people make this part the top. As you can see, there's glitter all over the picture. So we're just gonna scratch that, and it's just going to be this as being the top. It's whatever you like to do with it. But I think this is lovely, very heavy duty. This is something that'll be around for years. Some people have said that when they use UV resin after some years, sometimes it yellows. So you really have to kind of be careful what brand you use. So far, I haven't had any issues with this. So hopefully this does not turn yellow in the future. So we're just gonna go ahead and unmold the rest of these.
Okay, so I'm just unmolding the remainder of the coasters. And as you can see, they are nice and thick. I guess if you don't want them as thick and heavy, you could just put less epoxy in them. This turned out very shiny and very pretty. And the other side is just full of glitter. But again, if you do want to make them reversible, you just do clear, add the photo, let that cure, then add glitter. And just thinking about this too, if you don't want glitter, you don't have to have glitter. You can use foil, or you could just have it a whole clear. I think it looks better with something added, but you could just have a whole entire clear coaster. It does not have to have any color, mica powders, or anything. So that's completely up to you. So this is what the back looks like. You can most definitely flip it over if you want to. If you don't want to see the photo, maybe, or maybe you feel like you don't want the photo to have a cup on it. So when you actually use it, you flip it over for whatever reason. So I think these turned out really, really nice. And I think they're a great gift to give someone as a in memory of, or a memorial gift. I think this is a nice way to give people a way to honor and remember their loved ones. Focus more on how they lived, less on how they died. So there's those. Now I tried to make a pop socket. I don't know what went wrong. The photo was laminated. I did cover the top. But for some reason it just did not cure. It's a little blurry, but I'll show you in the next clip. It was just very wet right on top of the photo. I'll show you better. Okay, right here. And I feel like the picture darkened up more too, but it just would not cure on this area. So I ended up having to just scrap that. This was my first time making a pop socket. I wish it would have turned out better, because that could have been possibly used for his mom's cell phone. But yeah, this is a pop socket kit that I got off Amazon, and I just popped the other ones out. I may add something more to them later, but I think they turned out really cute. These were fully cured. And I put the pop socket plastic piece on. I never used it before, so I did it wrong. I actually stuck the pop socket onto the 3M side, which is supposed to go to the cell phone. I didn't realize my error until after my daughter told me. She was like, you know, that part goes onto the actual cell phone case. I tried to pull it off. It wouldn't budge. But I think that's a cute little thing that you can make, a photo pop socket. But too bad I didn't have an example to show you in this video, but at least you know that's something you can make. And these are just some barrette, UV resin barrettes. I couldn't find my metal clamps to actually put one together to show you how it looks. But this is also a cute gift that you can make for someone. Again, I didn't want to waste my excess epoxy, so I just pulled out some molds so they can be used. And then here are some cute little teddy bear molds. Probably could have put a little bit more glitter in those. I love those. You could turn these into crock charms, or you could turn these into brooch pins. Okay, and these are just some little miniature perfume bottles. This mold also came from Amazon. These little perfume bottles are cute. Again, those could be crock charms, or they can be brooch pins as well, or just something cute that you could just glue onto a cell phone case. Just something to decorate something. Okay, and here is a Nelfie disc. This is like my third time making one of these. Most people have these. They have a name cut out with like some acrylic. I don't have a laser cutter. I would love to have one. I'll get one in the future. But if not, you can cut out some some signed vinyl and maybe put a person's name on it that does the nail. So you could just leave it clear like this. I took my glove off to show you how it's used. After a nail tech does her client's nails, they just kind of pose holding this cute little disc. So it's, you know, that's something cute and fun. Okay, you guys, here is the final finished result of this video. These were the original gift items for this video. The compact mirrors, the LED compact mirrors that light up really pretty. These are on Amazon. I just added some rhinestones, some pearls, some bling. I added some charms, some nice little trim, quite a few different things. The main thing that made this different from other mirrors that I've done are the photos. Again, on the left is a young man who was killed some years ago. I don't know the backstory of it or who his mother is, but my friend wanted me to make that for her friend, just so she can have a way to remember her son. And I think that was just really sweet of her. And then she later sent me a picture of her grandmother, her great-grandmother, and she wanted me to make her a mirror as well. I have since given them to her, and she absolutely loves how they turned out. And I also gave her the coasters. I printed out so many pictures. I had these photos, so I was like, okay, I think this would be a really cute idea to make some coasters just to have an extra way for her to remember her son. And then I made my friend a couple coasters as well. And I think there's something very nice that she can have for a very long time. And to just look at it and just kind of, you know, cherish the memories. I think this would be a great gift, even if you have a family member who's alive, you know, or if you want to make these of your children, or however the case. It doesn't have to be just for someone who's passed on, but I think these would be great Mother's Day gifts, Father's Day gifts. I think these are just great gifts all around, even for Christmas, birthdays, or whatever. These are just very pretty, and the great thing is you can use any color glitter you like. You don't have to use glitter. You could use a mica powder or an alcohol ink to make them be the color that you like them to be. Again, I did laminate the photos, so they are protected, but I have heard of people who don't have a laminator or don't want to deal with buying one. I've heard of people taking the photo and covering both sides with Mod Podge and kind of letting it just kind of seal that way. I haven't done that, but I guess that's an alternative if you're interested. Check out our website. And for my extra epoxy, these are some extra molds I had. So I made some teddy bears, belly bands, some hair clips, and a lot more, and some cute things to also use. So these are some cute things you can use to decorate some things later on if you like to.